This conference will now be recorded.
Oh, cool. So guys, I'll start sharing my screen. Let me know once my screen is up for you. Okay, is my screen visible? Able to see?
Yep.
Kavya Prasad? Okay, good. So fine. Let me continue further. So yesterday we had seen how we are accessing the methods which are present in other classes just by creating the objects. So how we had created the class name, object name, new operator, and this is a constructor. So in today's class, we will see what is constructor means and also few more things. And yeah, I just wanted to tell one more thing. Here we have created public void set data, right? So what is void? So void means in case if the method is not returning any value to the calling one, we just write it as void. Okay, if the method is returning any value, what data type it is returning? For example, let's say I'm having one, if I'm writing here string instead of void, so this method should return some string value, like for example return name, and here let me just go ahead and declare string name, something like this. So depending upon the data type, what you are returning through the method, that data type you have to mention. If the method is not returning any value, in that case, we just write void like this. Okay, hope this is clear. Then moving further, today I would like to continue the session with the concepts of inheritance, okay, and constructors. So as I have already mentioned before, that we are going to first focus on the basics of the C#. So I am focusing on those basic concepts which are useful for our C# automation learning. So we are not focusing in on all the C# topics. We are just focusing on the topics which we are actually requiring to continue with the C# automations. Okay, then so far we saw how object has to be created, what is a class, what are the data types, correct, static, dynamic, and in today's class we will see what is inheritance. Okay, so basically inheritance, most of you people may aware that a class will acquire the property of the other class. Okay, so if we want to access the methods present in another class, how we are doing as of now, we are creating an object. For example, I want to access the set data which is present in program 1. What I have to do, I have to create an object for program 1, and through that object I can access this set data. But there is another way also to access the methods present in the another class without creating an object. And how do we achieve that? That we achieve using the concept of inheritance. So inheritance is the ability of one class to acquire or inherit the properties of the parent class. So for example, Let me just go ahead and create one class file. So program1, I will create program2.cs. So let me add this class file. Okay. So here, if you see, this is a class file. And if I want to make this class file as a parent class file for my program. So in case if I want to make this program as a child class and I want to make this program too as a parent class, how can I do that? That I have to do using the concept of inheritance. So for example, let me just write one sample program here. So namespace C# fundamentals public class program2. Okay, and let me just go ahead and declare one property data member. It's a string name. Okay, and let me create one method public void set data. Why we are using void? Because this method is not returning any value. So let me just write console dot write line. I am inside the parent method. I am inside parent method, or parent program is also fine. So I'm inside the parent program. Okay, now you see here, this is, if I want to make this as my parent class, how I should do, as I have told you, using the concept of inheritance. So how do we implement inheritance? So if you are from the Java school, we write like this: class program extends parent class name. So parent class name here is program2. So if you are from the school of Java, we write like this: extends, using the keyword extends. But in C#, we do that with the help of a colon like this. Okay, this colon denotes you are using the concept of inheritance. After this colon, whatever the class name you are writing, that class name is considered as a parent class for this particular program class. Now, program2 is a parent for this class program. So if I am inheriting this class, so without creating an object for program2, I can go ahead and access this particular method. So for example, if I'm going here and writing without, so program is having an object P. If I write P dot set data, right? So this set data is different, this set data is different. Don't get confused, or else I can go ahead and make this as a display data, so that to avoid confusions. Here, if you see, if I'm putting dot display data, so I have not created an object for program2 here. You see, have I created anywhere the object for program2? No, but still I am able to access the properties of the parent class. How? By the concept of inheritance. So inheritance is the ability of one class acquires the property of the parent class. Here you are seeing the method. There is another variable. You see here, this is a name, right? Okay, for your avoid confusion, I can say parent name. Okay, so this is a parent name. If I want to access this parent parent name. Here you see p dot, this is a object for this program class, not program 2. P dot parent name. So p dot parent name. Let me just try to access this one. P dot parent name. See, why I'm not able to access? Because by default, if you don't specify the access specifier, see public, this is an access specifier. If we are not defining the access specifier, by default, it will consider it as private. So let me write this here. Default access specifier is private. So if I want to make sure it is available outside the class, I have to make it as public. Okay, so now if you see here, if I'm trying to access that particular field, p dot parent name, can you see? Now it is appearing, but when it was private, it was showing the error, right? So anything you can just go ahead and give. Let's say training. I'm just showing you how you can access the data members and member variables with the help of inheritance concept. Here, earlier we were accessing the data members and member functions just by creating the objects. But due to inheritance, without creating an object, child class. So this is your child class, this is your parent class. Program is your child class, program 2 is your parent class. So without creating an object for the parent class, we are able to access the properties, data members and member functions through the child class. Hope this concept is clear. Anybody has any doubts here? Guys, anybody has any doubts here? Understood the concept?
Yeah.
What about you, Prasad, Saurabh? Understood the concept? Okay, so let me proceed further. So this is the concept of inheritance. Okay, now coming to the concept of constructor. So far I was telling, whenever we are creating an object, I was telling this is a constructor. And I was telling, I will explain what is constructor later point of view, but just remember the constructor name will be similar to the class name, right? So in now going forward, let us understand what is constructor. So constructor, this is a method. Okay, this is a method which will be called by default when you create an object. Understood? Let me repeat again. What is a constructor? Constructor is a method which will be called by default when the object is created. Okay, then what is an inheritance? Inheritance is a property where child class acquires the properties of the parent class. So constructor, as I have mentioned, it is a method which will be called by default when the object is created. Okay, so how do we define a constructor? So here you see, this is a constructor. So constructor takes the same name as of your class name. So whatever your class name is, constructor will take the same name as per your class name. So for example, see here, this is my program 2. Okay, so this is a class name. If I want to go ahead and create an object for this one, so how can I go ahead and do that? I have to write class name program2, then object name equals to new and again program2. That will be a constructor, correct? So if I go ahead and write one constructor, see, this is a program, right? So how the constructor will look like? Constructor is a method, right? So public, which will take
We
the name
lost
of
your
the,
screen. We can't see your screen.
is it? Stop sharing my screen. Again, resharing the screen. Able to see now?
No,
Still not able to see?
no. Or is it just me? Can somebody else answer?
Prasad, can you see the screen?
No, no,
Sorry, can you?
He said
no,
no.
no.
Can't see. Okay. Again, resharing the screen. Let me know once you're able to see.
You can't
Able
that
to see?
You're
Visual
still
Studio
not
screen.
visible.
It's visible now?
No.
Ah, no, it's okay. Now it's now
Oh.
visible.
I can see it.
For you?
And now it's
Prasad,
flowing. Now I am not able.
now you're not
Let me
able to see.
Hmm.
What about you, Saurabh? Saurabh, Sharath, can you see my screen? Is my screen visible
Yes.
to you?
Yes,
Now it's
ma'am.
okay.
Let me
It's gone. Selecting that Visual Studio. Ah, now it's okay.
You are able to see, right?
Yes.
What about you, Kavya? She is reconnecting. Let's wait for a couple of minutes.
Now it's gone. I'm not able to see.
Is it going on and off?
Yes, yes. Visual Studio is not visible
So
right
I'm
now.
Here
on
you are
the
select.
Visual.
Now
I'm
it's
on the Visual
okay.
Studio. Okay. You are
It's
still
still
able to
working.
see?
Yeah,
Yes.
we can
Yes.
see that.
Kavya, she is trying to reconnect. Let's wait for 1 minute and then we'll continue.
Now we lost that stuff.
For you also, Saurabh? I'm not sharing Visual Studio.
Now,
See, now
yeah.
I'm sharing.
Now it's okay. Yeah. Now.
Not sure whether Kavya is going to rejoin or not. Maybe she's trying to reconnect. Okay, let me continue. Meanwhile, she joins. So what I was talking about is constructor. So as I have mentioned, constructor is a method which will be executed by default when the object is created. Okay, so constructor will take the same name as your class name. So this is our class, right? Program. So how will I define a constructor? Same name as class name. So public program. So this is my constructor. Okay, so this is a non-parameterized constructor, which means even though if you are not writing this, your compiler will create this constructor automatically by default when you create an object. Okay, so here if you see, this is the constructor which will get called. So what is the purpose of constructor? Constructor is used to initialize the objects. Constructor is used to initialize the variables. Okay, this is the use of constructor in order to initialize the variables. So for example, now if you are seeing here, this is a constructor program which will call this particular one. Okay, in case if I write another object program, okay, so p1 equals to new program, and here let's say I'm sending it as Banu. This is a parameterized constructor, which means this is not empty. You are sending the parameters here. But what is the error here? Program does not contain a constructor that takes one argument. So basically this will go and execute this particular constructor. But when I am passing the value here, it is going and fetching for the constructor which is taking one argument, but it is not able to find. So in that case, if this is a case, you have to go ahead and create the parameterized constructor, public program. Okay, here accept any of the variable. Like for example, if you want to make sure there is a parameterized constructor, just go ahead and take any variable string, let's say f name, first name. Okay, string f name, or simply I can call it as string name. Okay, and here you can write anything, any statement of your own choice. If you are writing, then also fine, not writing, then also fine. But this when you initialize or when you create this object p, it will go and execute this particular constructor, public program, open and close the bracket. But when you create an object p1, it will go and execute this particular constructor. Let's say this Banu is coming and sitting here. Okay, and for example, now I will show you the importance of this keyword. Let me go ahead and declare one more string variable. Let's say string name. See guys, this name is different and this name is different. This is a global variable. The scope of this name is throughout the class, but this name is a local variable, which means the scope of this name is limited only to this particular method. Outside this method, the scope dies. The variable does not exist. But this name, what you are seeing here, the scope will be present in the entire program. For example, this Banu, what you are passing here, this will come and sit in this particular name. What if I want to assign this name to this one? This name I want to assign, let's say name, I want to assign to this name. So can I do this? So how will I get to know which name is getting assigned to which one here? So when you want to initialize the values of the global variable, you can use this operator. So this operator holds the current object of that class, or as of now, you can think of this operator will point to the global variable. So when I say this dot name, so this name which is associated with here, this operator, it is pointing to the global variable. Understood the use of this here? So now when the Banu is getting passed, it will go and call this particular method. Okay. And this is accepting Banu, and this Banu is getting assigned to the global variable. Understood? Understood what I'm trying to say? Let's say if I create here, get data is one method. Let's say if I'm going to create here one more method, let's say public void get name. Okay. And here if I'm going to print, let's say my name is, and here I want to print this global variable. I can't print this name because this variable is a local variable and the scope of this variable is limited to this particular method. But this is the one which I can print. So again, this is global variable. I can point to this variable using this keyword. So I can write it here plus this dot name. So now what it will do, if I want to go ahead and call this one p dot get name, p dot get name. Now I will just brief you out what I am trying to say here. You are creating an object p. This will go ahead and by default this particular constructor will get executed. If you don't write this particular constructor also fine, because there are no parameters, compiler will automatically go ahead and create this constructor for you. But just for demonstration purpose, I'm writing that if you create a method p, this will go and invoke this particular constructor. But when you create object p1, it will go and invoke the constructor which is having the parameter, that is this one. Okay, so inside this what I am doing, so there is one, I'm catching this particular parameter into a variable called as name, and this name I'm assigning to my global variable which I have declared here. And how do you difference between which is the local and the global one? So you can see that this keyword, so this keyword always points to the current context of the object, or in simple words you can think this keyword always points to the global variable. So now Banu is coming and sitting here, and Banu is getting assigned to the global variable. And I'm trying to print my name with the help of get name. So in this get name, whatever the value has been assigned here, I'm trying to print. For printing purpose, I'm going to call this one as p dot get name. Sorry, p1 dot get name. This is the parameterized one. So p1 dot get name. So let me just go ahead and build this solution. So it says program has more than one entry points, right? So here one, and where is the other one? So let me rebuild the solution. Come to the program and just run. Can you see this? My name is Banu. How it is coming? Using the parameterized constructor, which is going and calling this particular method. Okay, so yeah. So guys, understood what is constructor? What is the use of this keyword? What is inheritance? What is constructor? In constructor, parameterized constructor, non-parameterized constructor, and what is the use of this keyword? So is this concept clear? Anybody has any doubts here? Prasad, Saurabh, Sharad. Understood the concept?
Yes,
Any
it's
doubt?
clear.
Okay, so let me stop. I don't want to burden with more concepts in a single day. So today we have learned inheritance, constructor, and what is the use of this keyword. Okay, so let me stop the session here. In case of any doubts, we can go ahead and you can guys go ahead and clarify right away. And in the tomorrow's session, we are going to learn arrays. Okay, so this is for tomorrow. So as I have mentioned earlier, hardly 40 to 45 minutes of session will be there. So last 10 to 15 minutes purely for R&D purpose. You guys have any doubts, you can go ahead and ask me. You want me to explain again any of the concept which you have not understood, please feel free to ask.
Data members, what is the meaning of data members and what are the coming in data members?
See, this is a class which I have created. So this is a data member. So what is a data member? Basically, it's a variables. Data members are variables. And this is, we call it as member function. So this is a comment, multi-liner comment. I can tell you. So class consists of two things. One is data members. Another thing is member functions. So data members means variable declaration, variables. Member functions means if you want to perform certain task, okay, you can write those instructions in under the one umbrella. That is called as function. This is a function. This is a syntax of the function. Syntax of the function here is This is an access specifier. So what your function is returning, if your function is not returning anything, it is void. So how the syntax of member function will look like? First is an access specifier. Then comes the return type. And then comes your method name. And inside this open and closing bracket, you can write n number of lines here. N number of lines which you write under one function to perform or to achieve certain task. So for example, let's say I'm writing here instead of display data. Okay, let's say I'm writing public void add. Okay. See, for adding of two numbers and storing that value, I totally need three. One is, let's say, int a is equal to 10. Okay. Int b equals to, let's say, 20. Now I am adding a plus b. If I'm adding a plus b, this will give me 30. Where can I store that? Let me create another int variable c. So right now, this is just adding. This is not returning any value. Correct? So if I'm returning this c, return int c, that case, I cannot declare and write it in the same line. Int c, first declare it and then return. If you are returning this c value, then you cannot write void here. If the function is not returning any value, you can add void. If the function is returning some value, let's say return, what is the type of C? Int. That return type you have to mention. So that is the reason here access specifier, which means public. Return type, which means void or whatever the data type we are returning. And then this is a method name. And whatever the task you want to perform, that you are writing inside this method. Now, these are all the variables. In one class, we will have two sections, one for variables, one for member functions. Understood?
Yes, yes.
Anything else you want me to repeat, or any concept you have not understood, please feel free to ask me. Guys, anybody is having any basic question also, please go ahead and ask and get it clarified. Last 15 minutes of the session is purely dedicated for Q&A. So if you guys don't have any questions, shall we wind up? Anybody has any questions, they can stay on the call.
I have one. What is the difference of function and method in that?
Both are same. See, member functions or methods, both are same. It's just the different terminologies we call, that's all. Function and methods, both are same. Data members or variables, both are same. Methods and functions, both are same. Anything else?
Is any study material having in PDF format or anything document that you can share? So
Actually, I
it will
don't
be
have any theoretical notes because all the concepts what I explain, everything are programmatics. So I will be sharing codes on the daily basis. So for example, this is the code which I have written, program 2, right? So in the end of the class, I think yesterday I have shared the program.cs, right? And program 1.cs also I think I have shared yesterday. Today, whatever the code I have
it's
written,
fine. Yesterday I have not attended the class. In future, maybe
yeah,
the
I
time is
think
mismatched depending on the organization time. But if the
think
study
what
material is
I'm
there, we
saying
can
is,
print. Yeah.
one second. So recorded sessions are available. Okay, so Saturday, Sunday, you can just go through that recording sessions. I have not come so far with many concepts. It is just like basics things I have covered there. If you go through, you will understand definitely. But in case of any doubts or you want me to repeat any session, we can connect and I can give a repetition also. But recordings are available. If you are having any meetings in your organization and you cannot attend, you will have the recording of the classes which you can refer later point of view. And I think they will provide the lifetime access for your recording sessions, whatever we have. So theoretical notes I won't be providing. I will be providing whatever the code I'm writing. So basically this code why I provide is you have to write the code on your own, keeping this copy as reference with you.
Sure. Thank you.
Anybody has any doubts? Any clarifications? Okay, then fine. Let me stop the recording.